What's up, guys? It's Marco Sipla here with Gear Sustain. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Prius, the Toyota Prius, and exactly what you need to know before you buy a Toyota Prius in 2021 and moving forward. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the first one. I want to get straight to the chase here. The first thing is buying experience, because when you're buying vehicles from whether it's used or new vehicles for the car dealerships, the buying experience is going to vary from each vehicle and also brands as well. If you buy from BMW versus obviously Toyota Prius at a dealership, you're going to notice different things happening. And obviously some of the things that might happen is, for example, Toyota has so many buyers coming in that sometimes you might get forgotten. People are going to forget that you're there to buy that vehicle, and maybe your account is going to be slid under the rug for whatever reason. Now, as far as buying experience, what I've read through forums and stuff like that, when you're buying a Prius, it's likely that you're going to have multiple different people you're talking with. Whereas when I bought my Tesla, let's say Tesla Model 3, I was speaking with one person and only one person. That person got my sale. That person is not based on commission. Obviously, Tesla does it a little bit different. But the idea is I had one person I was in direct contact with. When you're buying a Prius, you're going to be speaking with multiple different people. I don't want to say that Toyota doesn't care about your purchase, because obviously they do. They're a car manufacturer. However, at the end of the day, there's so many buyers of Priuses and Toyota vehicles that when you go buy a vehicle from Prius, the buying experience is going to be much, much more different. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. You could read more about it. Just go on Google and search Prius buying experience, and you'll see Reddit forums and multiple different forums talking about the different buying experiences from other Prius owners. So let's jump straight into the second one. The second one is the Stigma. So when you drive a Prius, and myself included, when I look at a Prius on the road and I'm driving a different vehicle, we tend to, have this stigma where if you're a Prius driver, you're slow, or if you're a Prius driver, you're eco-friendly or what have you, and sometimes they throw politics into it. But the reality is, obviously, you could be a Prius driver and be a Republican. You could be a Prius driver and be a Democrat. The reality of it is, if you like Priuses, you'll buy a Prius. At the end of the day, that stigma, I don't know where it comes from. Maybe in the comment section below, you guys could leave that. However, it's truly out there. When you're driving, people give you the waves. When you're out there driving as well, you stop at a red light, people are going to give you the looks. And also, there's just that general stigma. Oh, Prius drivers are horrible, or what have you. So I'm sure you guys have heard of that previously. At the end of the day, it doesn't really affect myself and many other Prius drivers. You just kind of get it. You need to get a laugh out of it, to be honest with you, because the MSRP on this vehicle isn't much less than these other cars. And also, some of the people that are actually looking at this stigma as is, they're probably going to be driving less in value vehicles. So I don't know what they're really talking about. I don't know the specifics on that, but I do know there's a stigma out there. Do your own research and see what you think about it. As far as, everybody thinks Priuses are Uber drivers. Now, I've noticed this particularly at valets, or, when you're driving a Prius on different forums I've seen, people think you're an Uber driver because you drive a Prius, whether they see the sticker or not. So if you don't have a sticker on your car, you pull up somewhere, perhaps it's valet, perhaps it's a restaurant, or what have you, there's a stigma around it that you're an Uber driver, or you're a Lyft driver. And the reality is, not everybody who drives a Prius is an Uber driver. So I noticed that to be somewhat of an issue with some people, whether they're in valet or what have you. In that case, where it's a little bit of a disturbance when people they always think they're an Uber driver. So, and keep in mind, some of these things here that I'm talking about aren't necessarily reasons why you shouldn't buy the vehicle. I don't think they are. However, they're just things to consider when you're buying a Prius in today's day and age. Just a few things to keep in mind. Now, the next component here is you will never get pulled over. Now, don't take my word for it, but the idea is you're the opposite of a red Ferrari or a red Tesla or a red Lamborghini. You're the opposite of these vehicles that tend to get pulled over more often. There's statistics out there that show this. Prius drivers, you don't tend to see them pulled over on the side of the road, not because they're slow, but just because, like I said, police officers and police in general, statistically speaking, pull over Prius drivers less. Now, I don't have the source at my hand right now, but I'll pull that up and put it in the description here. Prius drivers tend to get pulled over less than other vehicles. Of course, don't take my word for it. Quick disclaimer, you can't drive over the speed limit and expect not to get pulled over. That's not how it works. Now, as far as the other last component here, as we talk about the different reasons why you shouldn't buy a Prius, or the different components as to what you should look at before buying a Prius, is the hatchback. So in the back, you'll see on most Priuses, most used ones, you'll see at least, the back trunk that comes up when you push the button, it actually goes really high. It elevates itself pretty high because of the hatchback elevation, right? So what I've seen specifically on Priuses is that hits the ceiling if you're in a garage or if you're in a low vicinity, or a low ceiling, if you will. Now, that being said, it's not much of a problem, but you just need to remind yourself momentarily that it's important not to open that when there's something hanging, whether it's the garage door or a low ceiling by any chance. But if you think about it, you have like an SUV where it pops up, but it only goes the height of the vehicle. In a hatchback, it goes higher than the height of the vehicle. So it's pretty interesting how that all works. Now, I wanted to make this video on a good note, and so I wanted to, bring up a couple pros to the Prius and why exactly you should at least consider it in your option when you're getting a new vehicle. And that is, number one, the Prius battery. So statistics and studies have shown that the Prius battery, on average, upon all of the different generations here, are going to last around 150,000 miles. Now, that's fantastic. Obviously, Tesla and other, electric batteries are going to tell you differently. But I think we can all agree that Prius vehicles are going to last a long time. They're tremendously reliable. Not going to say they're the fastest or funnest car to drive, but they are reliable, and they are somewhat reasonable to drive if you're traveling across town, if you will. Now, as far as the second pro I want to bring up, and that is repair and maintenance. Repair and maintenance on this type of vehicle is very, very low. And that doesn't come by any surprise. Prius drivers or Prius vehicles are obviously very well known to be less maintenance involved when it comes to fixing the vehicle, or like I said, maintaining the vehicle, making sure that everything is functioning properly in the vehicle. So as far as repair and maintenance costs are concerned, like I said, it's pretty minute compared to other vehicles, and also things are going to be very cheap. So if you're going to get your windows tinted, or you're going to do some auto glass, or whatever it may be, just expect your pricing to be a little bit less than normal in a Prius in any generation. I don't know if it's simply because Prius owners and Prius drivers tend to be a little bit more cheaper, or if it's they don't want to spend as much money, or if it's, hey, Toyota is an affordable vehicle. Obviously, parts and maintenance isn't going to be as expensive, if you will. So I appreciate you checking out this video. If you found value in it, make sure you give it a massive thumbs up. On the same topic of economy vehicles and green vehicles, if you will, you can actually check out our channel as well. We talk about a lot about Teslas and Tesla Model 3s. So make sure you check out our other videos. Like I said, Marco with Gear Sustain here. I appreciate you checking out this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for the next one. Take care.